Welcome back. We're talking Durant Wrestling with head coach Jim Weisrock. Let's move our attention now to the Willard Howell Invitational, Wapello tournament that you guys normally go down to, and I think you've gone, whether you've been here or whoever, this is a Durant staple early in the season.
Yes.
What do you teams? Obviously, Wilton goes down there. Some of these other teams. In this particular weekend, Wilton won this meet with 200 points. Fort Madison second, Mount Pleasant third, 152 team points. Wapello fourth, 99.5, and then we check in at fifth, 97. So I mean, we're right there, and
Sure.
a lot of points scored. I mean, you go from there, it drops down 90s, low 80s, 50s, and then Comanche's last with 33.5. But I mean, to me, that's kind of a lot of points being scored. So fuller lineups at this meet then?
I think they added a couple teams this year, and that made for full brackets, and that made for more matches, and in turn a lot more points were scored. I think the top three teams were probably the cream of the crop at this specific tournament. I mean, there's two 3A schools and Wilton, and I think we all know that Wilton's pretty salty.
That'd be good.
I mean, they're good, and Fort Madison and Mount Pleasant have full teams because they are a 3A school. And then there was 4 or 5 teams that were probably in the middle that you can mix it up with a win here or a win there, and we could have all been fourth. Either in there's probably 4 teams that could have been fourth with a win here or a win there. So I was happy with the final team standings. I mean, we wrestled well, and we scored. Everybody seemed to score. There's a couple guys who didn't score but still wrestled well, and I was happy with the way the kids.
Let's start talking about these weight classes. Start at 106, Chase Exline. Won the weight class. Got a pin in his first quarterfinal match against Colton Martins, Mount Pleasant, in 106. Won a 5-4 decision over Tanner Greenwald of Wilton in the semifinals, and took a 9-4 decision over Jeremy Sorum of Comanche in the finals. Thing that sticks out there, that semifinal match must have been a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was a good match. I know that Greenwald kid's a really tough kid, and we always say, he's a go-getter. He doesn't stop. He keeps moving forward. I don't care if it's the first 10 seconds of the match or the last 10 seconds of the match. He's a go-getter, and he wrestles aggressive and moves forward the whole time, and he's in great shape. And it was a good match. I don't think Chase had his best match there, and was kind of it was his first full match of the year, and sometimes it takes a little bit to get in shape. I thought he looked a lot better in the finals. I thought Chase looked a lot better in the finals, and was just kind of back in the rhythm, and had burned his lungs out in the semis, and looked better in the finals. But Chase wrestled well. I mean, he scored a lot of points, and kept moving, and he'll improve.
120, skip 113.
Yep.
120, Aaron Barton-Hagen, top seed, along with Chase was top seed in the bracket.
Yep. I think that top seed was kind of a toss up between him and Rudin. It could have went either way. I don't think Dorman or Nick and I just didn't really. It was 1 or 2. It didn't really matter.
Right.
It was just. I think it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that those two guys were going to probably be in the finals. So.
Bye in the quarterfinals.
Yep.
Major decision over Tyler Lampier of Mount Pleasant, 13-3 in the semis, setting up the Rudin match. 7-4 decision went to Rudin. Runner-up finish. I mean, these guys are going to see each other down the road.
I don't think so. And the reason I don't is because Aaron's going to go down.
Oh.
Aaron's going to go down. No, that's fine. But I think you might see him this weekend. So it was a good match. It was a high-quality state tournament type match. I think they both were. I mean, it was a great match.
Well, they're both.
I mean, it was both really high-quality kids, and Brady's a good kid, and we know Aaron's a good kid. You know what I mean? And it was a great match. It was a great match. It didn't end the way we wanted it, obviously, but it was a good match, and I think they both wrestled hard, and it was. I heard people in the stands even saying, "Wow, did you see that 120-pound final match?" It was just a good high-quality match.
Well, both these guys, and Chase too, their goals are for February, March. Right. So I mean, they're a little more. I mean, when you get a chance like this early on, you take it.
Yep.
You just see what you got.
You wrestle as hard as you can, and you move on. I mean, I don't know. He didn't get beat by somebody that, was not very high
Right.
quality. Brady's a great kid.
Moving on to 126,
Mhm.
Tanner Kleppe,
Mhm.
one of those freshmen you
Yeah.
were talking about.
Yep.
Had a tough first match. Got pinned by Nick Ott of Fort Madison in 220. Went over the consolation. Faced Jake Vania Sigourney, who had a Wilton guy in the first round and got pinned. Tanner ended up getting pinned and had a short day.
Yeah. I think this was probably one of the toughest brackets. I mean, when I looked at it, this was a very, very tough bracket. I mean, Travis Cole from Highland is, a returning place winner. Obviously, Smith from Wilton's a high quality kid. And that Nick Ott from Fort Madison was a really, really high quality kid who beat Smith in the semis. But it was a tough bracket, but I think Tanner learned a lot and was, he learned how it was to wrestle on that first Saturday, or wrestle on Saturdays, and he learned a lot. And Tanner's a really smart kid, and I'm sure he's going to improve this weekend.
Well, this class two seniors, two juniors, two sophomores. I mean, there was another freshman along with Tanner, but still, I mean,
Tough bracket.
there's something to be said about that too.
Tough bracket. Just a really tough bracket for Tanner.
Moving on to 138, Chance Brooks. Had the top seed, Cody Seaton in the first round. Got through the first period. Ultimately was pinned in 3:19, sending him over to the consolation match.
Yeah.
And another one of those opportunities, kind of a short day for Chance.
Yeah, Chance had a pigtail coming into the bracket to get to the number 1 seed and won that match 10-1, and
I
looked better.
was looking at this, and I was like,
It looked better.
Okay.
He looked good. He looked good his first match, and
Major
you know,
decision.
Yeah, I mean he did a good job, and he was moving forward, and we worked on a lot of things on Friday with him about staying in position. He was losing his hips a little bit, and we worked on that on Friday, and he really took what we worked on Friday and moved it into Saturday, and I was happy with his first round match. And then obviously he got a really tough kid in the first round. And then on the way back, Zach Ford's a good kid too from Wilton, who's been around a long time, and he's a junior, and
yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. 145, Henry Hansen. He ended up getting 5th in his bracket here. Had a guy from Fort Madison, Brad Petrie, in the first round, a senior.
Good quality kid.
Yeah. He got pinned under a minute. You just kind of roll with that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Henry got back to the consolation. He ended up facing Zach Howell of Columbus Junction in the semis of the consolation. Unfortunately pinned in that, but came back and fought back and got 5th place finish over Casey Castillo of Highland. So and you gotta like that, kind of stick to it to get. I mean,
Yeah, I think
you could losing 2 in a row. It's like,
sometimes it's tough to come back. I know his second match, that Petrie kid was from Fort Madison, was a tough kid, and I know his second match, he was up like 6-4 with like 30 seconds to go, or 6-2 with 30 seconds to go, and got caught in a move and got put on his back and got pinned. So I mean, he was right in that match with that Howell kid, and then like you said, it's tough coming back after 2 losses, still getting a win, but he looked good in that 5th place match too.
I'd say 5:59. I mean, that's as close as you can get.
Yeah, he was going to get beat by a point, but he was I don't know. I thought he lost his hips one time in that match, and it was just kind of was over quickly.
The funny thing is, if he would have won that match, he would have had Petrie in the 3rd place match.
Yeah, which
I don't know who upset him along the way, but
I don't.
the Yoder kid beat him in the semis of the regular bracket, so he must have been a pretty good guy for that Petrie day.
He was. That was a good bracket
So,
too.
170, Kyle
70.
LaFriends. Has a tough first match.
Yeah.
Coy Snyder over at Wilton lost Tech Fall 20-4. Came back, had a bye in the first consolation. Tough luck, 9-8 decision loss to a Mount Pleasant wrestler in the semifinals. By default, he gets 5th.
He's, I think he wrestled. I think he wrestled better than what his place was. He just, it was tough. I mean, Coy Snyder's a tough kid from Wilton, and that last match he just needed to score at the end and didn't quite get the takedown. So, but he wrestled okay.
In a 1-point decision on some of these, is it come down to a pretty equal matches?
I think it was equal matches. I think a lot of times I just early on I think sometimes it's conditioning, and in this case I would say that.
182, Dexter Sargent. This is one of those classes, there's not many people. Dexter ended up getting to the semifinals of this class, by in the first round, pinned Dakota Lincoln of Wapello in 4:44, and then ended up losing a major decision 14-4 to Justin Dilks of Mount Pleasant in the finals.
I thought Dexter probably wrestled the best I've ever seen him wrestle this weekend. Did a great job in the semifinals. Was on top. The guy chose down, was on top, really performed well on top, broke the guy down, put him on his back, pinned him. And in the finals, I thought, even a 14-4 match, I mean, he said, he lost by 10 points, but he was constantly moving forward, shooting, being aggressive, trying moves. I was very impressed with Dexter. He did a great job.
220, Drew George. Drew got a pin in the first round of Ricole McWhorter of Fort Madison in 49 seconds, and then lost a 3-1 decision to Riley Howe of Wapello in the semifinals. Worked his way back, got third, picked up a couple pins along the way.
Yep.
It sometimes comes down to timing when you lose, right?
Yep. Well, I think Riley Howell's a good kid from Wapello, and they're pretty evenly matched, and I think they wrestled numerous times in the past. And it was a good match. I think Howell took him down with maybe 20 seconds to go in the match. It was 1-1. Besides that, both with a couple escapes, and it was a very physical match. Very physical match. And then Drew took care of business on the backside, and I was happy with the way he did that.
That Howell kid went on to win the weight class, beat the top seed, it appears. Drew has to be pretty happy. 3 pins on the day.
He was. Obviously, you never like to get beat, but like you said, he'll beat that. He'll be better prepared for the Howell kid next time.
Okay. Last 285, Levi Novinsky, another one of those classes that are kind of thin on people. Won a 3-1 decision over Jacob Deasy of Wilton. Good start.
Good match.
Pinned in by Devin Mapp of Highland, a senior in the semifinals, throwing him over to the consolations. He got pinned by in the consolations, sending him to the 5th place match where he fought back and pinned his guy, Cody Robbins of Wapello, to get 5th. So
I think 2-2 for Levi was a great weekend. I don't think, Levi's only been in the wrestling. I think this was his 12th match ever in his life.
Oh wow!
So he's a good athlete, and he's learning in the room every day, and I'm proud of the way he does a good job. I think overall he's had 12 varsity matches in his whole life, and he's 6-6. They're pretty athletic for a big 250-pound kid. So I'm happy with the way Levi wrestled this weekend.
So early on this week, you guys have a lot more to kind of digest. Practice these first 3 days. Pretty back to drilling, you said?
Oh yeah, a lot of drilling, a lot of what we were doing wrong, trying to correct some of the little things that we were doing wrong, and really focusing on the details now instead of just wrestling, and high intensity drilling, and it's working out. I think that we'll see how it goes tonight, but we'll be all right.
What do you have coming up here?
Tonight we have Mid Prairie and North Cedar down at Mid Prairie, and then on Saturday we go to North Cedar for their invite with some good high quality teams up there too. We're looking forward to it.
Well, we'll get back next week. We'll have some good matches, some same teams maybe to compare results and go from there. So.
I know.
For Durant head wrestling coach Jim Weisrock, my name's Ryan Stonebreaker, and we'll be back next week. Until then, we'll see you at the meet.